In late September, North Korea claims that it tested a hypersonic missile, the Hwasong 8, launched out of Reunification County. The missile was attached to an adjustable re-entry vehicle capable of reaching hypersonic speed. By being able to exceed the speed of sound, missile defense systems on the ground in the US may not be able to intercept them given their speed and agility. Additionally, the missile is fitted with a fuel ampoule, meaning that it does not need to be fueled out in the field before launch, drastically reducing the required launch time. The faster launch time also diminishes the possibility of other countries launching a preemptive strike on North Korea to prevent a nuclear strike from them. The Hwasong 8 is one of the 5 most important weapons specified as part of the North Korean government's 5-year missile defense development plan. With various missile tests spanning decades, you might be wondering, why is North Korea doing this in the first place? Well, there are a number of reasons. Some of the key reasons for nuclearization include the following: the survival of the regime, building patriotism locally, building military might, and generating greater leverage for diplomatic purposes. North Korea's intercontinental ballistic missiles act as powerful deterrents against any possible US attack on the grounds of regime change. North Korea has seen the consequences of US military intervention in other parts of the world and is determined to prevent similar activities against its country. North Korea watched as the US invaded Iraq in 2003, toppling Saddam Hussein, who they believed to possess WMDs, but didn't, as well as support for Libyan rebels who ousted Gaddafi from power after he gave up his access to WMDs years earlier. North Korea was determined to not be next. This is why we have seen an escalation in the country's nuclear program over the past 2 decades. By building a powerful nuclear base, North Korea is capable of striking any nation it deems an imminent threat, including the US, as some of its latest missiles are capable of striking the entire country. North Korea is currently facing unprecedented challenges. The nation's economy is in a dire state, with hard-hitting sanctions and a budget primarily dedicated to nuclear missile development. Many of its people are poor, starving, and neglected by the nation's rogue regime. Then there is the pandemic. While it is unclear whether it has spread substantially across the country, North Korea's latest military parade and accepting of aid across its borders gives some suggestions as to how that is faring for them. The development of nuclear weapons gives the public something to take pride in, knowing that their country is striving to safeguard its security in the midst of challenging times. Nuclear development also gives the regime something to talk about, enhancing its propaganda to unite the country against a common enemy, the US. In doing so, the people are left perennially distracted from the persistent issues of hunger, poverty, and a lack of improved living conditions at home. One of the main goals of North Korea's regime is the reunification of the Korean Peninsula. Access to ballistic missiles significantly enhances the military capabilities of the North if it desires this objective. With long-range missiles capable of striking the US, North Korea could prevent the US from coming to South Korea's aid to prevent an invasion if the US is also in striking distance. The use of nuclear weapons, accompanied with superior weapons technology for a ground invasion, gives North Korea a strategic edge against the South if combat eventuates. South Korea does not have access to nuclear weapons, clearly a disadvantage for them. As we saw with the Trump-Kim summits of 2018 and 2019, diplomatic meetings in front of the world's media advances the legitimacy of the regime on the international stage, making North Korea look like an equal player to that of the US. Being seen as an equal to the US not only increases the credibility of the regime at home, but also positions the country as a potent force worldwide. While these are reasons for nuclearization, They are not reasons for actually launching a strike against North Korea's enemies. I believe strongly that the country's nuclear arsenal is purely a defense mechanism designed to safeguard the regime's own survival, and not to actually start a new global conflict.